They rise like modern coliseums, monuments to sport. But beneath the gleaming steel, a different kind of sacrifice is made. The public pays, often without realizing their role in this economic ritual. America, a land defined by its dreams, its drive, and its enduring love affair with sports. From the roar of a packed football stadium on a crisp autumn Sunday to the crack of the bat on a warm summer's evening, sports are woven into the very fabric of our national identity. They are communal gatherings, celebrations of skill and teamwork, and potent symbols of civic pride. For many, a professional sports team isn't just entertainment, it's an extension of their city, their community, their identity. We bleed our team colors, we chant their names, and we mark our calendars by their schedules. These temples of sport, these monumental stadiums and arenas, stand as gleaming testaments to this passion. They are architectural marvels, often dominating city skylines, promising unforgettable experiences and generating immense excitement. But beneath the dazzling lights and the thunderous applause, there lies a complex, often controversial, and frequently hidden financial truth. The construction and maintenance of these modern coliseums come with staggering price tags, often stretching into the billions of dollars. And increasingly, a significant, sometimes majority portion of that bill is footed not by the billionaire owners of these multi-million, even multi-billion-dollar franchises, but by ordinary American taxpayers. This isn't a new phenomenon, but it's one that has accelerated dramatically in recent decades, evolving into a systemic transfer of public wealth to private hands. The narrative often spun is one of economic revitalization, job creation, and indispensable civic enhancement. Yet a growing body of evidence, alongside a chorus of critics, suggests a starkly different reality, that these public subsidies rarely deliver on their grand promises, instead enriching the already wealthy at the expense of public services and the very communities they claim to uplift. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on America's stadium funding, asking who truly benefits and at what cost to the American people.
So, how exactly does public money end up funding private sports ventures? The mechanisms are varied and often complex, designed to obscure the true cost to the taxpayer. One of the most common methods involves general obligation bonds, where a city or county borrows money by issuing bonds, backed by the full faith and credit of the local government, meaning taxpayers are ultimately responsible for repaying the debt, usually over decades. Then there are sales tax diversions, where a portion of local sales tax revenue is earmarked for stadium construction. Hotel and rental car taxes are also frequently utilized, with the argument that these are primarily paid by out-of-town visitors, not local residents. However, this still diverts funds that could otherwise go to general city services or infrastructure improvements. More sophisticated tools include tax increment financing, TIF districts, where future property tax revenue increases around the stadium are diverted to pay-for-bills or city services. And let's not forget tax abatements, essentially waiving property taxes for the stadium property, sometimes for decades, costing the public millions in potential revenue. The arguments made by team owners and their political allies are powerful, often tapping into the deep emotional connection communities have with their sports teams. The primary pitch is always economic. A new stadium will be an economic engine, creating thousands of construction jobs and then permanent operational jobs. It will attract tourism, filling hotels and restaurants. It will put the city on the map, enhancing its image and attracting new businesses. Proponents speak of the multiplier effect, where every dollar spent at the stadium ripples through the local economy, generating even more wealth. They invoke civic pride, the desire to be a major league city, and the threat of team relocation if the demands aren't met. This creates a kind of stadium arms race, where cities feel pressured to offer ever more lucrative deals to keep or attract teams, lest they be seen as less competitive or lose their beloved franchise. These narratives are persuasive, backed by expensive lobbying, and often by public sentiment. Despite the fervent promises of economic boom and civic uplift, the overwhelming consensus among independent economists paints a far less rosy picture. Study after study concludes that publicly financed stadiums rarely deliver the promised economic benefits. The jobs created are often temporary construction gigs or low-wage service positions, and the net increase in employment is minimal at best. The new money promised often isn't new at all. It's simply diverted from other local entertainment or businesses. People who might have spent their money at a local restaurant or movie theater instead spend it at the stadium, meaning the economic activity isn't actually growing, it's just shifting locations. The multiplier effect is routinely exaggerated, and the idea that a stadium puts a city on the map enough to attract significant new businesses or tourism is largely unfounded. Most tourists visit cities for their unique attractions, not just for a single sports game, which they could watch anywhere. The greatest beneficiaries are almost always the team owners, whose franchise values skyrocket with a state-of-the-art, publicly funded facility, and the players and coaches. The public bears the risk and the cost, while private entities reap the vast majority of the profits. This comes at a significant opportunity cost. The millions, sometimes billions of dollars diverted to stadiums could instead be invested in vital public services, repairing crumbling infrastructure, funding under-resourced schools, expanding healthcare access, or supporting affordable housing initiatives. Instead, that money is locked into long-term debt to subsidize profitable entertainment businesses. The cycle continues as owners often demand costly upgrades or entirely new facilities just a few decades later, leveraging the same threats of relocation. We've seen this play out in cities like Oakland, where the Raiders, A's, and Warriors all left, despite significant public investments in their facilities over the years. Buffalo faces an $850 million taxpayer contribution for a new Bills stadium, and Las Vegas saw over $750 million in public funds go towards the Raiders' Allegiant Stadium, largely through hotel room taxes, demonstrating a continued pattern of private gain at public expense. The economic reality is clear. These deals are bad for taxpayers.
The core issue is a stark imbalance of power and risk. Billionaire owners, commanding immense political influence and the emotional loyalty of fan bases, leverage the threat of relocation to extract massive concessions from cash-strapped municipalities. The public takes on the debt, maintenance, and risk, while owners enjoy increased franchise values and often tax-free profits. This model isn't just economically unsound, it raises profound questions about civic responsibility and equitable resource allocation. So, what's the path forward? Firstly, transparency and independent analysis are crucial. Before any public funds are committed, truly independent economic impact studies, free from team or political influence, should be mandatory and made easily accessible to the public. Secondly, cities and states need to develop stronger negotiating positions, perhaps through intercity agreements that prevent a race to the bottom in subsidies. Thirdly, and most importantly, the paradigm needs to shift back to owners funding their own facilities, a standard practice in many other industrialized nations, and increasingly, even within the US for some new stadiums, like SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, which was largely privately financed, albeit with significant public investment in surrounding infrastructure. American sports are a vital part of our culture, inspiring millions and creating shared experiences. But that cultural value should not be conflated with the economic necessity of public subsidies for private profit. Our tax dollars are finite resources, meant to serve the collective good, not to inflate the balance sheets of the ultra-wealthy. Citizens must become more engaged, demanding accountability from their elected officials and questioning the promises made by powerful sports franchises. We need to remember that while the thrill of the game is priceless, the price of a stadium should not come at the expense of our schools, our roads, or our communities. It's time to reevaluate who truly benefits, ensuring American sports is built on sustainable, equitable foundations, not on taxpayers' backs.
Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos.